thing ni kuandika formula. So the first thing is that we write the formula. So we said our formula is this one. But now, this is a summarized one. So we need to get the P-FIFA in full. You need to get the P-FIFA in full, which is what? 1 minus in bracket 1 plus r raised to negative n. We divide by r. We divide by r. That is the formula of getting the P-FIFA. That is the formula of getting the P-FIFA. So as per our formula, as per our question, you can do it the long way, but I don't want to introduce the long way method. And yet in exam, you can use the formula because we are fighting for time in the exam. So there's no way we can do the long method. You can use the formula. So let's have the P-FIFA, which is 1.12 raised to negative 4. Whatever you're getting here, say 1 minus, the answer we divide by 0.12. What could be our P-FIFA? What is our P-FIFA? So make sure unajua kutumia calculator kutafuta hii. So don't rely on your past paper. Examiner might give you at the back of your past paper, but sometime anaweza kupea 13% here, which is not there in that table. So make sure unajua kuweka kwa calculator. So 1.12 raised to negative 4. You're getting 0.63. So you take 1 minus 0.63552. Or you can choose the old value, the old value if you are using a calculator. 1 minus answer, we get 0.364481. We divide by 0.12, which give us the final answer.
3.037.
Yes?
3.0373. Oh, yeah, right.
Okay. So in 1.1 raised to 2 to negative 4, which giving us this. So the same minus 1 itakuwa negative. Say 1 minus that. Then you divide by this 12, which the final one is I'm getting a 3.00373. You can choose the old value if you are using the calculator. Then time is our future value, which is 1 shilling. So at the end of it, we will get 3.073 as our value. So the best thing is to understand the concept, the formula first. That is the beauty of FM or FOF. So once you have the formula and you understand the variable, haikujangi kama umeambiwa na vitu nyingi additional information kama financial counting. So these are direct one. Okay. So we can look at the past paper if we have anything there. So nilikuwa stop sharing. You can share again. So the illustration to control which these of giving the answers. Question nyingi, you are doing a lot of question. 1 to what? 1 to 50. So there is a number 29. I can see 29. 29, yes. So you have been told that bit one Choi is holding a 5 years, 10% of 100,000 debenture. Determine the value of this debenture today if the cost of capital is 12%. If the cost of capital is 12%, So the framing of that question, it looks like the valuation model, but it is not the valuation model. It is not the valuation model based on the choices I'm to pay. So you have been told that to determine the debenture today, determine the value of the debenture today, So the first thing, the value of the debenture is the present value of the debenture today, which to the present value is the PFIFA. Yes, PFIFA time is the future value. Now let's break down to this. Do we have it is an annuity because they are going to pay that 10,000. You're going to pay the 10,000 for 5 years. The same amount. So let's see if it is an annuity or the lump sum. So let's use the annuity first, which is 1 minus into bracket 1.12. Nimechukua that raised to negative 5. We divide by 0.12. So tutaipata ngapi? 1.12 raised to negative 5. We divide by 0.1 minus 1.12 raised to negative 5. 1 minus answer divided by 0.12, getting a 3.60 48 times the value which ametuambia 100,000. Is it 100,000? Yes, 100,000. So what could be the present value of one Choi debenture times 100,000? You are getting 3604 77.62. Kuna value inakaribia hiyo. Yeah, so you can see the A, but I don't know why. There is another 8, but that 6 0 4 8. Kama wametumia, unless kama wametumia which value? Wametumia 10,000 instead of 100,000. So wamechukua 1.1 raised to negative 5. 1 minus answer. We divide by 0.12 times 10,000. So wametumia 10,000. Because if you use 10,000, it's giving us 336,0447. If you round off, it is 48. So that's why they made a lot of choices in exam. But now in exam, usiseme hakuna, unaangalia ile inekaribia. Because maybe those people, they might not have the time to go through these questions. They only have A, B, C. Remember, when marking this exam, they are marking, they are there for money. They are not there to give you a pass. Because kama nimeambiwa lazima umark like if you are being paid like 500 per paper in your mark. So at the end of the day, nataka to maximize my profit by what? Doing what? Marking a lot of questions or the past paper. So I make sure that I don't even go to the question to check whether it is right or wrong. Naeka tu tick nikiendelea. So make sure that ukifika kwa exam, ukipata there is no correct choice like this, you go with the what yenye inakaribia ama the same values inafanana, so that if they don't check that, then you will have another advantage. If they check, then such a point of questions inakuanga 3 marks. And then now, after that, we are done with the time value of money, which is for annuity and lump sum. That if examiner asks you for infinity, which most of the time they don't ask this one because it is a direct. So when we say infinity is what? It is a continuous what? Payment of fixed amount. So it doesn't have the certain period. You just pay it throughout. It is infinity. And then, so how do we get now the present value of an infinity? You take 1, you divide by the discounting factor, either PFIF or PFIFA. PFIF or PFIFA, which are not this one. We say to take 1, you divide by R times what? The discounting factor, either PFIF or PFIFA. So that is the formula of getting the infinity. That is the formula of getting the present value of infinity. So if it was this case, to get 1, we divide by 0.12, then we multiply by the not even the discounting factor. This should be amount. We multiply by amount. 1 to divide by R, you multiply by amount. So examiner will not give you that one. That is a direct. Then now we have to look at something called the loan amortization. The loan amortization. If you look at your syllabus, tunaitwa loan amortization schedule. Loan amortization schedule. Mko na loan? Hamna loan? Nani ako na loan?
Hatuna,
Katrina,
niko
hauna
nayo.
loan?
Niko nayo.
Hauna fuliza? Or hujui fuliza is a loan? Ama unafikiria tu loan ni kwenda bank kuchukua million? So fuliza is part of the loan because fuliza is a bank overdraft. Na tulisema kwa account, if you define bank overdraft is you withdraw the money in exist pesa yenye uko nao kwa account. So now we said loan amortization is the repayment. It is a schedule, or we say it is a schedule. It is a schedule that shows the repayment of loan. That shows the repayment of loan. So it is a schedule that shows the repayment of loan. Still at the question. Oh, Zoom, let me stop that. So we said loan is a schedule that shows the repayment of loan. That's the loan amortization. So each time ukichukua fuliza, Safaricom has to determine the loan amortization hata kama ni ya siku. Just a minute, niweke ink. So for loan amortization, you need to earn what is called the installment. Ukichukua anytime ukichukua loan, unaambiwa you will be paying 1,000 every month or every year. You will be paying 1,000 every month or every year. So we need to know how to get the repayment of the installment amount. How to get the installment amount. The installment amount. So examiner will not give you the installment amount. The examiner will not give you the installment amount. So you have to get it. How? You will take the amount given or the amount of loan, you divide by discounting factor. You divide by discounting factor, either PFIFA or PFIF. You divide by the discounting factor. So once you get now the installment amount, then you can now prepare your schedule, which itakuwa na years, maybe year one, balance brought forward, or the beginning balance there, and then you have the interest, and then after interest, what else? The installment, the installment amount, and then we have the balance carried forward, or the end balance. But this one should be a negative. So this plus this minus this, you get this, which will be the opening balance of year two. This one is the opening balance of year two. And then you repeat the same procedure. This one should be constant, even kama ni 20 years. This one should be constant hata kama ni 20 years. So you repeat that procedure until you get a nil balance. At the end of that amortization period. So before we look at the illustration, these are choices haujapewa loan amortization, but if you go to the previous questions, there is a lot of loan amortization, but there is a concept here which was tested on April 2022. The concept is you apply the concept of getting the principal's amount, I need you to get this number, question 28 on April, the same past paper. There's a lot of questions here. Question 1 to 50C mchezo ni question nyingi. So question 28, we have been told, determine the price of what? Determine the price of 100 base value open bond with the yield to majority of 14% and 20 years until the majority is compounded annually. So it is the same. You take that amount of 100,000, which of 100 you divide by the, but now this one unatumia PFIF. Hautatumia PFIFA because we are determining the present value. So if you are determining the present value, we use the future value. So utatumia future value hapa chini. So that one is it perfect. So maybe we can have an illustration of amortization. If you go to your past paper, hizo zingine zenye hazina choices, but it is the same. You only need to do the working outside and then you check for the choices. So let me share the screen. Let's get whether we have the one for loan amortization kwa hizo zingine. 2020 what? This is 2023 December. Let's see that amortization. Kiona yenye imeandikwa loan amortization, niambie ni sitting gani? Yeah, there is this one. Ukiscroll kwa hiyo past paper yako ni sitting gani? April 2023. April 2023. There is a question for loan amortization. Nimeiona loan amortization. Question 5. April 2023, question 5. Roman, question 5C, Roman 2. Question 5C, Roman 2. Question 5C, Roman 2. So after this loan amortization, we will, that is the end of this topic of time value of money. It's a lot. We still have time. Then you can introduce the valuation model. The valuation model. So the question, hata kama hujapata nimeshare, you can see it. We have been told Simon Kamala obtained a loan from ABC Bank of 2 million. The rate of interest was fixed at 12% per annum. The loan is to be repaid semi-annually over a period of 3 years. Over a period of 3 years. Required, prepare a loan amortization schedule over the 3 years. Over the 3 years. Over the 3 years. So I ask the question. What is the value of rate? What is the value of rate and end? Sharon, give us R.
12%.
12%. So we underline to the word semi-annually. What happened with the R and end? We say it if you have been told to compute something semi-annually. So in this case, our R is 12%, but we have been told semi-annually. So we divide by 2, and then N is 3, we multiply by 2. So this one you will get 6 periods. This one you get 6%. 6%. You get 6%. Now, we have been given the amount borrowed or the amount of loan is what? Is 2 million, but you have not been given the installment. Have not been given the installment. So let's get to the installment, which we say we take the amount borrowed, which is 2 million, we divide by PFIFA. So let's get to the value of PFIFA here, which is 1 minus 1.06 raised to negative 6. We divide by 0.06. So what is the value of our installment amount? 1.06 raised to negative 6. 1 minus answer. We divide by 0.06. We get 4.9137, and then I say 2 million. I divide by answer. So which between T 6 raised to negative 6. So getting 0.2, we multiply the 1000. So there is a challenge here. not giving us the interest, the fixed amount cannot be more than the loan amount. If we calculate this one, we are getting an annuity of 1.06 raised to negative 6 raised to negative 6. 1 minus answer, we divide by 0.06. This one is giving us a 4.9973. So it is 7.93, and then you take 2 million, you divide by 4.973. 2 million. You're getting 4, 6, 2. 4, 4, 6, 270, 75. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it is okay. I thought this one is more than the borrowed amount. The interest, the installment cannot be more than the installment amount. Now we have the installment amount. We have the installment amount. Then we can have our loan amortization. You can have our loan amortization, which is the loan amortization is, we follow the format. We follow the format. So in this case, it will be periods. It will not be years. It will be periods, because tumeambiwa it will be semi-annually. Semi-annually. So that's the periods, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The borrowed amount, tunaweza kata 3 zeros sasa. So we have 2,000. The interest will be our rate. Our rate ni ngapi? 6%. And then the installment will be the same all the way, which will be 4 or 6.725. 4 or 6.725. Yeah, 3, 4 or 6.25. Year 4, 4 or 6.725. Year 5, the same. Year 6, the same. So once you have the installment, now get the interest. The interest is 6% of the borrowed loan. So the first one, 6%, 0.06 times 2,000, which we get 120. 120. So this plus this minus this, we get the balance carried forward. So plus 2,000 minus 406.725, getting a balance of 1713.275, which will be our opening balance in the year 2, 17,3.275. Get the interest of this, so you don't get you get the interest of the specific amount. So hata calculator yako usivute. Ukishapata huku ya mwisho, unaendelea tu unasema times 0.06. You get 102. You can round off to 03, and then you say plus. So 1713.275 plus 103 minus 406.725. We get 140955. So repeat the same on this side, 140955. Get the interest of that times 0.06. getting 84. So we say we round off this, get 85. So 85 plus 1409.55, getting 14 minus this, minus 406.725, getting 10, 1087.825. Lete hiyo kwa ya 4 utaipata ngapi? 6% of this unapata 65. 65 ukiround off haikuji decimal, so put just 65. 1087.825 plus 85 minus 6.725, getting here 77 66.10, itakuja hapa 766.10. Get the interest ya hiyo, multiply by 0.06, itatupia ngapi? 45. Ukiround off inakuja 46, inakuja 46. Najua umechoka lakini tutakumilia sasa. So 766.10 plus 46 minus 406.725, which you are getting 405.375. So bring it here, 405.375. Get the interest. Get the interest times 0.06. You're getting 24. Getting 24. So 24 plus 405.75 chakuja minus 406.725. So tunapata hapa 23.025, which ukiangalia hii value because of the rounding off, and this is a rounding off, so you should get, but in a degrees, yeah. So because if you do this one to the next year, which is year 7, you will get a negative value. So you should approach, the end balance here should be approaching to 0 or negative. But maybe this one is due to the rounding off of this interest amount, even this one. So if you use all the values, this one should be at least 0 or negative, at least 0 or the negative. So that is the loan amortization. That is the loan amortization. So always the examiner will not give you the installment. And in fundamental of finance, you need to be keen. Na hizi vitu zinaandikwa semi-annually at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year. That's why watu wengi wanatokanga either AFM, FM ama FOF, wanasema hiyo paper ilikuwa rahisi. But here hajaona hizi at the end of the year, semi-annually, compounded, and quarterly. So you have to be keen on those because hiyo inaweza kuangusha bure na unajua swali. So I think tunaweza kuwa na break ya 5 minutes and then tukuje tuanze the valuation model, unless kuna swali. So tupumzike for 5 minutes, turudi tufanye valuation model. So Katrina ameshatoroka. So we can introduce the valuation model. The valuation model. So uko hapo ama unakula saba?
Nilikula kitambo.
So we can have the valuation model. So when you say valuation model, is that we are valuing the financing option of the company, either debenture, preference shares, or ordinary shares. And in a valuation model, they are the concept which you must understand. That examiner might ask you to define some of the concept. Ukiangalia your section A, the examiner will ask you a lot of theory to define. So maybe it will ask you to define what is a book value. What is a book value? What is a book value? So you have to know what is a book value. So in simple term, book value is the original price of the what? Of the shares, either the preference shares, debenture, or ordinary share. So you say it is the original price of the finance asset. It is the original price of what? Of a financial assets. Financial assets. It is the original price of the financial asset. Sometimes the examiner might use the different name. Utapata ingine anatumia the par value, ingine anatumia nominal value. So zote ziko na the same meaning. Which is the original price. Number two is the going concern. What is a going concern? Tulifanya hii kwa financial accounting. What is a going concern? What is a going concern? Is it curious of kusahau? I have been asked in certain interview, what is a going concern? A going concern. So it's look like unaona unajua lakini haukumbuki. So when we are doing the introduction to the financial accounting, the accounting concept, we define the going concern as the what? The ability of the company to continue in future without showing that it can't what? It can't disappear, or it can stop its operation, or it can make losses. When the company makes losses, automatically that company will going to be closed, like a task is. So you can say it is the now this one to later going concern value. They say it is the value of a company that is in operation. It is the value of a company that is in operation. If the company still operates, then the value attached to it is called the going concern value. And then we have another one called substitution value. Number 3, we have what is called substitution value. So substitution value is the equivalent value of the financial assets. Say it is the equivalent value of a financial assets. That is, in short, we are talking of the replacement value. In short, we are talking of what? Replacement value. We're talking of the replacement value. And then from there, kuna ingine inaitwa conversion value. Easy concept ni nyingi, but if you don't understand, you have to understand easy concept, because kwa question utakuwa unapewa hizi values na lazima ujue ni gani. Hata tukifika another topic which is a cost of capital, you also need to understand this book value, substitution value. We have another one called conversion value. We have another one called conversion value. Number 4. Conversion value. Then to define and say it is the equivalent value of an asset. It is the equivalent value of an asset. That can be changed. Into a different security. So a good example, maybe uko na wewe umeloan Safaricom, what is debenture is a loan. Maybe umepea Safaricom debenture, but ukaona hii debenture haikupay a good profit, then you want to decide to change into ordinary shares so that you can be paid dividend. So any value which is attaching to the convert, maybe unataka kuchange 20 ordinary shares to debenture ama debenture to ordinary share, so you must have the conversion value. And then second to the last, which is number 5, we have what is called liquidation value. Liquidation value. So to liquidate is to wind up the company or to close the company. So at the time of closing the company, there's a value which attached to that company, company at time of what? Closing up. So that one we call it liquidation value. So you say it is the opposite of going concern. 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 You can say that is the value attached to the asset. The value attached to the assets. The value attached to the assets are being the value attached to the asset being disposed of. Remember, kampuni make losses haitakuwa na pesa ya kulipa the shareholders or the suppliers ama the suppliers or the government. But instead, if the company is not making profit, like the case of Tuskys ilikuwa ina make losses. What happened? You appoint a liquidator. So uki appoint a liquidator, they will come and do the valuation of assets. So wakivalue the asset, they will get values to those assets. So that from there now we can do the total values there is of assets in ngapi, and then we sum. So there we can get that is what the value of that company at the point of disposal. Then the last one, we have what is called intrinsic value. Intrinsic value. So another name of intrinsic value is called MPS, market price per share. Another name is called market price per share. So you can say it is the fair value. It is the fair value. It is the fair value. It is the fair value or true value. Of a security, or true value over. So hapo ndio tunamalizia the concept of values or the concept in the valuation model. So you need to know how to differentiate all of it. Then from there now we can see how to value these securities. So we have 3 securities. That is the we still have 9 minutes. Maybe we can introduce more mbili, then tupumzike. Last tuko nao Thursday. So andika valuation of bonds. Valuation of bonds. Remember hizi securities tumesema tuko na 3. Tuko na bonds ama debenture, tuko na preference shares na tuko na ordinary shares. So lazima uangalie each and every bond, like each and every security, bond, preference shares na ordinary shares. You don't know examiner atauliza gani. So in the valuation of bonds, we also have three nature of bonds. Tuko na irredeemable bonds, we have redeemable bonds, and then we have the convertible bonds. We have the convertible bonds. So we can start with the irredeemable bonds. The word irredeemable inamaanisha nini? You cannot redeem. Ama aina maturity period. So say these bonds do not mature. These bonds not mature. These bonds do not mature and are for they don't mature. So if they don't mature, what does that mean? Say they attract a fixed interest into infinity. Tulikuwa tumesema infinity haina mwisho. So if they don't mature, which means it attracts the fixed interest amount into infinity. So unapata ukiangalia financial statement, most of the time unaambiwa 6% debentures, 6% debenture at this value. So if they don't mature, then it means every year you have to pay 6% of this value. 6% of this value. That's what we mean as the fixed interest. So you can't have how to get now. So examiner atakuwa nakuuliza tunasema valuation. Tukisema valuation, we are getting the present value of that bond, or the current market price of the bond, So how do you get now that market price? Market price tunaandika MV, which is equals to the interest we divide by the cost of debt. We divide by the cost of debt. We divide by the cost of debt. Now, how do we get the So how do we get the interest? The interest tumesema, you take the coupon rate. The coupon rate ni kama ya 6% times the par value. Tumesema par value or book value or what? Nominal value. Examiner atakuwa anatumia hizi majina. So they will take the coupon rate times the par value for you to get the interest. The cost of debt, which is short form yake ni KD. Examiner atakuwa anakupea. Cost of debt. You only need to calculate the interest and get the value. So, and then, so you can have a simple illustration there. Say 7% of 50 shillings. Illustration. 7% of 50 shilling. 7% of 50 shilling are 50 shilling bonds. 50 shilling bonds are to be issued. By the company. And the required rate of return. Rate of return is the cost of debt. So usikue confused na hizi literature. Is 10%. Is 10%. Is 10% per annum. Is 10% per annum required. Calculate the intrinsic value. Required. Calculate the intrinsic value. Calculate the intrinsic value. Calculate the intrinsic value. If interest is paid, if interest is paid semi-annually, if interest is paid semi-annually, if interest is paid semi-annually. So you can see the terms examiner anatumia most of the time, the intrinsic value. So to say intrinsic value is the current fair value of the bond or the security of the security. So the first thing is you get the interest. The first thing is you get your interest. So you ukipewa a percentage of the price. This is per value. This is per value, and this is the coupon rate. This is the coupon rate. That is the coupon rate. So lazima kuwa unazielewa hizi coupon rate. Utapata tukifika cost of capital, examiner atakwambia the cost of debt is equivalent to the coupon rate. The cost of debt is equivalent to the coupon rate. So instead ya kupea hii, the rate of return is 10%, anakuambia it is issued at the par value, which means itakuwa the same na coupon rate. So lazima ujue hizo term. Naona kamera ina karibu kusima, tuharakishe hii. So 7% of 50, you divide by the cost of debt, which is 10%, which is 0.0. Tutapata ngapi? 5% of 50. 7% of 50 ni ngapi? 7% of 50. 3.5 we divide by 0.1. So we're getting that 5 shilling. Then examiner at yes, that 5 shilling. Thank you. So examiner atakwambia comment. So the comment is that the bond is what? Undervalued. Is undervalued. The bond is undervalued by how much? 50 minus 35 by what? 15 shilling. If examiner asks you to comment, it's that the bond is undervalued by 15 shilling. The original price was 50, but now they are selling at 35. They're selling at 35. So maybe tunaweza stop there. Hata tukiendelea tutakuwa tunaiona kamera. Amesema amechoka. So unless kuna swali. Yes? Kuna swali. So make sure that at least now we have seen now governing some of the time value of money. If you go to the first paper, kuna a lot of illustration. Make sure at least in a day unafanya 2. Fanya 2. Catherine, naona unataka kuongea, kuna swali? So kama hakuna swali tupatane.